As always, we welcome you to the Home Depot SEC on CBS. The gathering begins early in the week, and the meetings have a purpose to them. It's Georgia and Florida, an annual event. And first to take the field, the Gators from Gainesville. Head coach Ron Zook. Not far behind them, the Bulldogs of Georgia. Just another Saturday in the South. It's the SEC on CBS. The Georgia Bulldogs against the Florida Gators. Good afternoon, everybody. Vern Lundquist along with Todd Blackledge and Jill Arrington. Every year in the season, there's certain games on the schedule that glitter like diamonds in the dust. They just reach out and grab your attention. This is one of them. Tradition helps. These two teams first played in 1904 or 1915. It depends upon which history book you favor. There's the matter of a neutral site, though Jacksonville does seem slightly more Florida neutral than it does Georgia neutral. And most significantly is the even distribution of tickets. Today, for example, 41,000 will be adorned in orange and blue, and 41,000 will wear the red and black. And then if you get the game date and the stakes are high, by gosh, you have something special. And that's where we are this afternoon. Georgia leads in the East by 1 over Tennessee and Florida. If the Bulldogs can win today, they can really grab hold of their destiny. But if Florida wins, we have some Machiavellian possibilities before this season is all over. We'll talk about them throughout the day. Todd, I get a sense, though, a lot of this is going to be right here.
Yeah, I think the key today is sense of urgency. Which team has it to the greatest degree when this game starts? And more importantly, which team can sustain it for 60 minutes? I think a big key in Florida's resurgence over the last couple weeks has been a feeling of desperation after a bad loss at home to Ole Miss. They felt like their backs were against the wall, and they played that way. But now they've had a week off, people patting them on the back, telling them how good they are. Will they have that same feeling today? They better, because Georgia will have it today. Despite the fact they're the reigning SEC champs, 7-1, ranked number 4, because of the way they've played the last few weeks, because of the injuries, and because of their history in this series, they feel like their backs are against the wall. Whoever comes out with the most fight and who can carry that fight for 60 minutes will win the game today.
We have been blessed with a perfect November afternoon. 80 degrees, 60% humidity, a breeze out of the northeast, and the forecast partly cloudy. Gainesville, 71 miles from Jacksonville. Athens a bit farther. Georgia leads the series. They claim 45 wins. The two teams have met every season since 1926. But when Steve Spurrier came here in 1990, the tide turned, and Florida has owned this series. In the last 13 years, they have won 12 of the last 13. Florida won the toss. They have deferred the option until the second half, and Georgia will receive. Matt Petrovich, straight ahead kicker, will do the kickoff chores. Craig Lumpkin and Brian McClendon are deep, and we are underway. McClendon a yard in. More than a yard out.
Petrovich, the kicker, with the tackle.
And let's go down to Jill Arrington on the sideline.
Well, Vern, you know that this is a big game when your university schedules the teams, the students' fall break around this game, and that's what the University of Georgia did back in 2000. The students weren't showing up for class, so they said, let's send them down to the game early, and that's what they've done. But Florida does know the significance of this game. You said it, 12 of the last 13 games. The last time Georgia won this game, their quarterback coach, Mike Bobo, was the quarterback. I asked him, did you have any advice for David Green? He said, not much. He's a winner. He led us to a championship, and he's going to show that poise on the field today.
All right, Jill, David Green hands off on first down. He does so to manufactures the run back to his right, and he picks up a couple before Johnny Lamar, number 31, makes the tackle. David Green, junior rather, just one of the most complete quarterbacks in all of college football. He has been superb since taking over as a starter as a freshman, 28-6, though He is 0 for 2 in this game.
And I expect him to play very well today. He's got more of his weapons back than he's had in many weeks. He's got Fred Gibson back. He's got Michael Johnson back.
Big hole, Michael Cooper. Daryl Dixon makes the tackle, but not before Georgia picks up a 1st and 10.
This is a huge confidence play for Mark Richt in Georgia right now, because one of the key injuries is to their fullback, Jeremy Thomas. Now watch him lead this play up in here. He had a concussion on the opening kickoff against Vanderbilt. He gets a nice block on Reed Fleming, and that is a positive play for Georgia, because they weren't sure, he had no contact all week, how his head would feel, but he is an integral part of what this team does offensively.
Jeremy Thomas, that is, unable to play last week because of that concussion. Cleared for practice this week. And here is Michael Cooper going over right tackle. Picks up a couple on 1st down, and we'll check the Earthlink starting lineups. Let's begin with this offensive line, a very young one to begin the season, and they have given up 25 sacks to lead the SEC. The skill positions: Michael Cooper, Jeremy Thomas in the backfield, Reggie Brown, Fred Gibson is back, having missed the last 2 games, and Benjamin Watson is the tight end. Mark Richt in his 3rd season as the head coach at Georgia. Here's Cooper. No, play fake. Green avoids the tackle, but can't get by the second one. Channing Crowder, number 55, after Travis Harris got there first.
Yeah, and that's a positive sign for Ron Zook and his defense, because Travis Harris is the guy starting in place of the suspended Bobby McCray, who is the leading sacker in the SEC, and he's just going to get right around the tackle, Max Gene Gillis. Watch this. He just goes right around him. A bad pass set by Gene Gillis, who is actually a very good offensive lineman, but not ready for the quickness of Travis Harris on that play.
Loss of 7, 3rd and 16. Green from the spread. 5-man rush.
Look out.
Got him again. Well, we mentioned they'd given up 25 sacks coming into the game. Now 2 quick sacks. This one goes into the bank of Darrell Lee, number 86.
Yeah, well, first time from the one end, the other time from the other side. Here's Darrell Lee over here. It's just a 3-4-man rush. It's not a blitz, but Darrell Lee this time beats Daniel Inman. So both tackles for Georgia beaten by the quickness of the Florida defensive ends.
That brings on Gordon Ely Kelso, the redshirt freshman from Athens, and he will kick away to Kewan Ratliff, averaging 13 yards plus per return, though he does not have a return for touchdown this season. 4th and 25. Good one.
Yep.
Ratliff chases it down at the 19-yard line. Looks for blocking help, gets it, and is spilled as he gets out to the 36-yard line. Ben Watson with the tackle. That's a fine 56-yard punt. A 16-yard return. Darrell Lee gets to David Green, 2nd sack in the 1st series. Time call. Midway through this season, 18-year-old Chris Leak became the starting quarterback at Florida. And in his starts, 3-1, 9 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. And he is in there now from Independence High School, Charlotte, North Carolina. Chris Leak hands it off to Rand Carthen on 1st down. Carthen breaks a tackle and booms out near the 50. Bruce Thornton, Sean Jones, but it's a 14-yard gain till they make the tackle.
Yeah, nice start for Rand Carthen, who missed his first game ever in his career 2 weeks ago against Arkansas with a hamstring injury. He had some time to heal in the off week. He gets the start again today, and we'll see 3 different tailbacks rotate through for Florida. All 3 very talented, but Carthen, the 5th-year senior.
On 1st down, he gets it again, comes right where Max Starks is starting at right guard. And let's check this Florida starting offense. You've met Chris Leak up front. Jonathan Colon gets the start at left tackle, 2nd week in a row. It's Snell, DeGore, Max Starks, and Randy Hand. Rand Carthen in the backfield. 3 wideouts, Small, Perez, and Kite. And the tight end, a really talented young man, Ben Troop.
This is a 5 wide receiver set now for Florida, really trying to spread out this Georgia defense.
They stunt, does the Georgia defense. The pass is complete. Inside the 30 to the 28-yard line. O.J. Small, number 11. In front of the nickelback, Kenny Bailey.
Well, this looked like it was going to be a pick, but here's Small right here, and he's going to run a hook, and because he's a tall receiver, Chris Leak is able to throw that ball up for him. He's 6'1", and it went over the defender's hands into the hands of O.J. Small, and a good completion on his first throw for Chris Leak.
That's a gain of 18. Deep handoff right side, and this time Carthen strung out and is knocked down after a loss back to the 29-yard line by Ken Veal. Let's check the Bulldog defense now, and it is an outstanding 11. They're number 1 in the country. Gathers, Anderson, Veal, and Pollock up for the All-American. The linebackers, Harrison, Thurman, and Tony Taylor. The secondary misses DeCorey Bryant, neck surgery. His career is over. His spot is taken by Tim Jennings. And you see that Georgia has given up only 3 points on game-opening drives this year. Now time is called. They want to reset the clock.
And where they've been really good is in the red zone. Their red zone defense, best in the SEC. Only 14 opponent possessions in the red zone, and they've only allowed 5 scores, 3 touchdowns, 2 field goals. So they have really been good when they get in their own territory.
And still some clock issues going on, so have another gathering here.
You mentioned the absence of DeCorey Bryant, and what that does for the Georgia defense is it means that Tim Jennings, who is normally the nickelback, when they go to 5 DBs or 6 DBs, he moves into a starting corner in their regular personnel groups. And then when they go to nickel, he will go back to his normal nickel position, and Kenny Bailey will then come on as the outside corner. So a little different strategy for Brian Van Gorder, the defensive coordinator, who again just continues to do a great job with this defense. They've lost 4 starters now that won't play any more this season. 2 of them lost before the season even began. Defensive end Will Thompson and safety Kentrell Curry haven't played at all. And then they lost Kedrick Golston, and of course you mentioned last week DeCorey Bryant. So
now the clock problem appears to be solved, and this no huddle offense now of Florida with Chris Leak will give the play to Rand Carthen. Second down, 11. Opening drive for Florida. Draw play. Carthen hit behind the line and then knocked down as he gets to the line of scrimmage. Tackle made by David Pollock, number 47. And David, who is as emotional as any player in the country, immediately tries to get the crowd into it.
And I mentioned where Georgia has been especially good in the red zone and also on third down. Only allowing 27% conversions on third down. And Thomas Davis, the guy to keep an eye on third down. They move him from safety into a pass rush spot. Here he is right here, number 10. Keep your eye on him.
See how adept Florida has been at 3rd and long. They've got a 3rd and 11 here. And a 3-man rush. They drop 8. Here's Leak. Chased. Gets by his own man. A flag is down at the point where the contact was almost made. And as Leak hurdles, he is nailed.
They're going to get Jonathan Colon for holding David Pollock. You know, we've watched David Pollock play so much, and he's made so many big plays. Not as many that are showing up on the stat sheet this year as a year ago. But this is a big play for a defensive lineman, because when you draw a holding penalty, you're doing something special. Watch him come inside, and Jonathan Colon grabs him. As he gets by him, there's the hold on the jersey. It wasn't much, but because of the quick move by David Pollock, he draws the penalty. A little fake step inside and then to the outside with his quickness.
And meanwhile, once Chris Leak got loose, boom.
Yeah. Robert Gathers with the hit at the end of that play. And the one thing Brian Van Gorder told me is that Chris Leak, you know, and they kept on their guys all week. When he scrambles, he's looking to throw. He's not looking to run. That time he had to run. But he's made a lot of big plays throwing the football when he's on the move.
Well, they take the penalty. It takes them out of field goal range for the moment. And Leak's run might have made a field goal a possibility. Now 3rd down. The field goal kicker, of course, is Matt Leach, who has a career high of 50 this season. Georgia with 4 down. They'll bring 4. And Thomas Davis has Rand Carthen go right by him. And Carthen is tacked at the 31. That'll bring up 4th down, and we'll see if we see Leach.
A safe play that time for Chris Leak. You don't want him to get yourself out of good field position by making a mistake, so they go with a safe running play and at least gives Leach an opportunity to put the first points on the scoreboard.
This is 48 yards long. His career long was 50. We saw that earlier this season. Here's Matt Leach. Boy, doink.
He nailed it, though.
Did he ever?
But he nailed the upright, too.
Man, that was 20 feet up the right upright.
Sure was. And the guy you got to worry about is Sean Jones, number 6. He's the leaper for Georgia, and he was up there, but Matt Leach had plenty enough leg on this one. Wow.
Thought for a moment. Disappointed.
Looking back through the years in this rivalry, in 1942, Frank Sinkwich and Charlie Trippi led Georgia to a 75-0 win over Florida, Georgia's largest margin of victory in the series. And in '64, the Bulldogs upset Florida 14-7 as kicker Bob Etter scored the game-winning touchdown on a botched field goal. In 1965, Florida quarterback Steve Spurrier rallied the Gators for a 14-10 win. It was his only victory versus the Dogs as a player.
All right, Jill, that Bob Etter run, that was Vince Dooley's first year here, and Bob Etter went on, got his doctorate in mathematics at Rice University, and is now a professor of mathematics at Sacramento State. First down, backs in the eye. No score midway through the first quarter of play. Green, a handoff to Browning, coming left. And then leans out to the 38-yard line. Now let's go back to New York for this Pontiac High Performance Update. Here's Tim Durando.
All right, Vern. South Carolina was down 43-14. They've scored 19 straight in the 4th quarter. And here, Noah Whiteside from Dontrell Pinkins. Ole Miss has the ball with just over a minute and change and up by only 3.
Wow. That is extraordinary. We were watching part of that game here as we got ready for this one, and they were so in control. Now here's Green, right side. Has a man open. That's Damian Gary, number 18. And let's set this Florida defense under Charlie Strong. First year as the coordinator. Lee, Mitchell, McDonald, and Harris, who starts in place of the suspended Bobby McRae. Matt Ferrier, Reed Fleming, Channing Crowder are the linebackers. And the secondary really fine. Lamar, Dixon, Scott, Kevon Rattler.
There's Charlie Strong, defensive coordinator. Has got a lot of history against Georgia because he was at South Carolina for 3 years.
Here's Browning. Out to the 50.
Georgia, one of the teams that really was kind of a bugaboo for them was South Carolina over the last several years. You look at what Charlie Strong's defenses have done to Georgia the last couple years. Forced 9 turnovers. That's a big thing. But the points, only 10.7 points per game. Now this year, when Georgia played South Carolina had gone to the new 4-man defense. It was a little more normal for Georgia to see, and they kind of ripped them up.
Mark Rick, chatting with us earlier this week, said, hey, I've played against Coach Strong twice. I haven't scored a touchdown against him yet.
Incidental face mask on the defense. 5-yard penalty. Repeat second down.
Steve Shaw, the referee today. Meanwhile, Ron Zook talking about this game. This is his 7th because he was an assistant to the ball coach, Steve Spurrier. 91 to 95, and now his 2nd as the head coach. To a man, the coaching staff from Florida talked about what it meant like to come over the bridge on game day and see this stadium. Here's Green on first down and second down and 3. Again, forced out. They've got him for the 3rd time, and that time you just can't hold him out that long.
Yeah, I mean, obviously this young offensive line for Georgia, even though they're not really young anymore, you know, they played a bunch of ball games together, but they've given up a lot of sacks. Now, Watch these guys up front. They've got to try to do the best they can, but David Green, as a veteran quarterback, right now he's got enough pocket. He's got to throw that ball away. If he doesn't have anything open, get rid of it. And you don't expect David Green to take a big negative play like that when they're in good field position.
There's a handoff to Browning, right side, and he's tackled at the 47-yard line.
Another nice block by the fullback, Jeremy Thomas. Again, sat out last week's game against UAB because of a concussion. And he is such a critical part of what Georgia does, because they love to run out of the I formation and go play action, and then they spread out with the 3 or 4 wide receiver sets.
3rd and 5.
David Green outstanding on 3rd down, completing over 75% of his passes on 3rd down this year.
Comes little inside pattern to Gibson. Now there's some rustiness, I bet you.
That's exactly what it is. The rustiness of A, not playing at full speed, and B, not getting hit full speed. And then that's a case where Fred Gibson knew he was going to get hit. The ball's well thrown, and Fred just not able to concentrate on the football to make the big catch.
Gibson, leading receiver a year ago, has been hobbled by injuries, hamstring and knee this year. And now Keywan Ratliff awaits the 2nd punt of the game of Gordon Ely Kelso. Now they have 1st and 3.
Nice punt.
Sure was.
Really a nice punt. Put it right on the 10-yard line and pinned Keywan Ratliff right on the sideline. If he doesn't catch it, it might even bounce closer to the goal line. Perfect punt by Eli Kelso.
Speaking of Buddy Martin, 0-0, 4:32 to go from Alltel Stadium in Jacksonville, Florida. And the overhead views of Jacksonville and the stadium, courtesy of the Saturn Light Ship. Keep your eye on the sky when the Saturn Light Ship visits a major event near you. This one qualifies. Pretty major. 1st and 10, no score. Seatric Faison, star of the last 2 victories on the road, is in at running back. That's the handoff and comes right. Bounces it outside. And nice shifty running, but what a good job Tim Jennings did.
That's excellent run defense by the Georgia Bulldogs, because everybody has to fit into their space or into their gap. David Pollock got double teamed, but he held his ground, and everybody outside of him just kind of filled into their spot. The trademark of this Georgia defense is A, their speed, and B, how well coached they are. They do not get out of position very much.
And here is David Pollock playing on a bruised knee. He missed the last 3 quarters of last week's game against UAB. 2nd and 10. Faison comes right, squirts through, picks up 3. And let's go down to Jill Arrington.
Well, you guys mentioned earlier Georgia's DeCorey Bryant injured his neck last week in the UAB game. And the good news is he got out of the hospital on Thursday. Although he was unable to make this trip, the team said they saved room for him on their travel roster. He's not expected to play the rest of the season. So in his honor, they're wearing his number 22 decal on their helmets. And he's someone they're surely going to miss on the field today and the rest of the season. The good news is it was a serious injury, and he's up and moving around.
His good friend was Max Starks, who is a starter in the offensive line for Florida. And he said, thank God he's walking. They played high school ball together in Orlando. Here's Carlos Perez coming across the middle, makes the grab short of the 1st down. It'll be 4th for Florida.
Now, I talk about David Pollock, and that a lot of what he does doesn't show up on the stats. But I want you to watch. Now, he rushed the passer, and most defensive linemen would then take the play off. But he doesn't. He chases down the receiver and gets a part of that tackle. I mean, he's going as hard as he can after the quarterback, doesn't get a sack, chases down the receiver, gets a part of the tackle. When your leaders play like that, other guys feed off of it.
Here's the freshman Eric Wilbur. Line drives this one, and he booms it.
Boy.
Oh, man.
Before the game, I was standing by Mark Richt, and Wilbur is just knocking punts, bombing them over our heads. And he asked one of the return guys, Vernell Brown, I said, does he kick them that far all the time? He just bombed one there.
Time called. Georgia has the ball. 63-yard punt.
The time has come to get back inside college football.
This could be the biggest year yet.
Oh, what a grab on the freshman.
How many good teams does one state need?
Inside College Football premieres next Wednesday at 10, only on CBS College Sports.
Get fired up for football season with SEC Football Rewind. All this month, part of Summer Refreshments on CBS College Sports.
NFL on CBS tomorrow. Indianapolis, Miami, the lead game. Others will see Oakland, Detroit, San Diego, Chicago, or Jacksonville. The Jaguars at Baltimore. A couple of games at a late start. It all begins with the NFL today with Dan Marino, Deion Sanders, Boomer Esiason, and hosted by Jim Nantz. 2:56 to go. First quarter in this one. We are scoreless. Green will go from the spread. He has been sacked 3 times already. There's a slant. Nice play. Perfect. Running away from the defensive slant, and Reed Fleming makes the tackle, the linebacker.
And a nice block by Jeremy Thomas on Channing Crowder, who is really the heart and soul, I think, of this Florida defense. Even though he's a true freshman, watch Jeremy Thomas. He's going to get the block right here on Channing Crowder. Now, Crowder helps him a little bit because he comes too far inside. But there's the block right there, and Browning too quick for Channing Crowder to get off that block and get back to the outside.
Tyson Browning, a tiny one. He's 5'8", 167, but he is elusive. That's a 12-yard run. Here comes the blitz, and they hand it to Browning. He goes over right tackle and picks up a couple.
I really think we talked about sense of urgency as being important throughout this game for both teams. I think from a more tactical point of view, 2 things that are going to be critical in who wins this game. Number 1 is turnovers, and both teams coming in have done a great job of winning the turnover battle throughout the season. Georgia leads the league, Florida number 2 in that category. And then third down. Who wins on third down? Last year in the Georgia loss, they were 0 for 13 on third down.
This is 2nd down and 8. Green, Michael Cooper, contact at the line of scrimmage. No gain. Gives us a moment to go back to New York for this Pontiac High Performance Update with Tim Brenda.
Vern, I know you guys just love overtime games. Ben Moore, the tight end, had 3 of these today. 3 touchdowns on direct snaps. That ties the game at 43, and guess what? On the 2-point conversion, he throws it to the other tight end, Matt Henson. The running Utes take out Air Force 45-43.
Tim, they're short hitters. Only 3 overtimes.
Now there's the numbers last year on third down. Florida, that's not great, 4 for 15, but it's a whole lot better than 0 for 13. I'll guarantee you that.
3rd and 8 here. Florida brings 4. Screen pass, right side. Browning. Good job of reading the screen. Channing Crowder, who is from Atlanta, the true freshman, who is a quote machine as an 18-year-old.
Yes.
And
they shut him down this week.
Put the muzzle on him this week.
Oh, but he's a player. What a player this guy is. Here he is. Now watch, as a true freshman, watch how quickly he reads the screen. He's got his eyes on the back right now. He knows it's screen. And he goes before anybody can get there to block him. You don't expect a true freshman to understand the game and to react as quickly as Channing Crowder does play after play.
And here is Ely Kelso on to punt again. Kewan Ratliff waits at the 30-yard line. So the Georgia offense, and that's end over end and not terribly far. It does get a great Georgia roll. Ratliff picks it up, nailed at the 20-yard line.
And a flag down right at the end of the return as well.
Arnold Harrison made the tackle. 50-yard punt, nothing on the return. Let's see if the infraction goes against Georgia or Florida.
Well, it's in the area where it would normally be an illegal block in the back by the returning team, which would put Florida back even closer to their own goal line.
During the return, illegal block in the back on the receiving team. 10-yard penalty from the end of the run. 1st and 10.
I think they may have gotten D. Webb, a true freshman from here in Jacksonville, watches this return. Another great punt by Eli Kelso. And there's the block in the back by D. Webb. The first man down for Georgia trying to make a play is the guy who got illegally blocked. That was Mike Gilliam, and Florida starts inside their 10.
And again, they go without the huddle. They will go from the spread. Chris Leak, the 18-year-old true freshman. Mike DeGore snaps it back, half roll out to the right, and fired out. It's caught by Perez, and Kenny Bailey was right there and missed the tackle.
See, one of the things that Chris Leak is going to find about this defense of Georgia, and he knows it from studying film this week, this is a different type of defense than what he saw at LSU and against Arkansas. They are not a heavy blitz team. They are a fundamentally sound team that makes you execute and move the ball down the field.
It'll be 2nd and 8 when we come back. That's the end of the first quarter with our score zip, zip. We'll return to All-Star Stadium after this message and this word from your local station. We just could not have a more splendid day with greater mascots. Uga's enjoying this one. Uga the 6th. 0-0 as we start the second quarter. Vern Lundquist, Todd Blackledge, and Jill Arrington from All-Tell Stadium in Jacksonville. From the 12, 2nd down, Leak. Hands fumble. There's a fumble. Gerald Anderson forced it. And Florida got it back. Very fortunate to get it back because that ball was laying around there. Carthen again has been out with a hamstring, and Gerald Anderson, who has really come on for this team as a defensive tackle. He was out of shape when the season started, but the last 2 or 3 weeks he has really played good football as a starter inside. Got the start when Kedrick Golston went out for the season with an injury. And now 3rd and 14 at the 6. Florida yet to convert on 3rd down. Todd said, keep your eye on 3rd down conversions. That's easy for me to say. From the end zone, tries the screen. Boy, he was dangerously close to backing out of the end zone. It'll be 4th down. And there's Gerald Anderson again. And again, you see the philosophy of the Georgia defense. They are not a risk-taking defense under Brian Van Gorder. They are a defense that stays in position. They will get after you. They've got speed. They will bring extra pressure from time to time, but they are going to make you move the football and execute all the way down the field. And that time, nowhere to go for Chris Lee. Fine back-to-back plays by Gerald Anderson. And here is Wilbur. He boomed 163 yards on his first effort. Damian Gary, the all-time punt return leader for Georgia. Short kick this time. A lot of room for Gary. Got it. 32-yard line. Only a 36-yard return, a punt, and 10 yards on the return. Wilbur, a true freshman, and a lot of times when you're in your own end zone, the main thing you're thinking of is get this kick off. Don't worry about getting a boomer. Make sure you get it off, get it out of this end zone. And that time, he just didn't get nearly as good of a kick as he did earlier. Well, Ron Zook telling us he brought Eric Wilbur into the office. They had a heart-to-heart this week because his techniques had slipped a little bit. Now on 1st down. Slipped a little bit more on that one. Handoff right side, Michael Cooper. And gets a couple. Check out CBS Sportsline scoreboard for the best live play-by-play from every top 25 college football game. Just click on NCAA football at CBSSportsline.com. Ron Zook. Second game in this series. 2nd down and 7. By far the best opportunity now for an inefficient Georgia offense. That one's overthrown, intended for Fred Gibson. It's going to bring up 3rd down. Good pressure by Channing Crowder, who when he decides to go, I mean, when he gets moving, he's a load. Now, when he was coming on pressure that time, and the backs were responsible for picking him up from his linebacker spot. And
And I think just his presence may have caused a little bit of a high throw that time by David Green. Neither team has converted yet on third down. For Georgia, this is their fourth opportunity to do so right now.
Gibson and Michael Johnson wide left. Reggie Brown is wide right. Stunts by Florida. Green fires. Has a man. It's Gibson. He's got a first down at the 19-yard line.
The last third down situation, Freddie dropped one. This time he makes the sure catch. Good protection is what started it. And then Gibson, who is going to be outside, runs a little hook route. And he finds the soft spot in the Gator defense. Nice target for his quarterback and a sure catch at the end of the play. David Green has been under duress all afternoon, but he was able to make a good throw before the hit.
David Green sustained a hyperextended knee in the loss at LSU. It continues to give him some difficulty. Here's Green into the left flat. Damian Gary. It's incomplete. Now let's go back to New York for a Pontiac High Performance Update. Once again, here's Tim.
Vern and Todd, I got some Bedlam for you in the Bedlam series. Kewan Jones taking it in for the Sooners, a 2-yard run in Norman. They had one touchdown catch nullified. It could be worse for the Cowboys. They trail 10-0 in that all-important BCS game.
Yeah, yes, it is. It's hard to imagine Oklahoma State could lay it on them for the third year in a row, isn't it?
Really is.
Green 3 of 6 for 12 yards. Handoff. Greg Lumpkin, who is the third-string tailback, and he delivers at left tackle inside the 15 to the 14-yard line. Well, they have really had struggles in the last two games. See the stats, 126 rushing yards. They actually trailed Vanderbilt 2-0 at the half 2 weeks ago. And then they had to hang on and defeat UAB 16-13 last week.
But in all fairness to Mark Richt and this offense, too, they played without a lot of their weapons. Fred Gibson, this is his first game back. Michael Johnson has been hurt. A couple of their linemen have been hurt.
3rd and 5, blitz coming. Green into the end zone, incomplete. Contact incidental. It'll be 4th down, and we're going to see Billy Bennett. Johnny Lamar was covering Reggie Brown. There's Lamar, number 31.
Well, the key right now for Georgia, get points on the board. Last year, Billy Bennett made 2 field goals in the first half, but missed 2 critical field goals in the third quarter that would have extended Georgia's 13-12 halftime lead.
Had one bad outing this year. He missed 3 at LSU. The all-time leading scorer, and he misses wide left. How do you do? Missed 3 against LSU. They lost by 7. Billy Bennett, unsuccessful.
Rise up, fans.
This fall, big-time college football games are on CBS College Sports.
Yes! Into the end zone, touchdown.
Was that ever close?
Don't miss bowl contenders Rutgers, Pittsburgh, Boise State, Southern Miss, and more all season long, only on CBS College Sports. Navy coming off a bowl bid looks to continue momentum against the Tigers of Towson. Don't miss Towson vs. Navy in HD, brought to you by the U.S. Navy. Saturday at 3:30.
College football, are you with us?
Thursday on CBS, Cast-Off Castaways came back and got revenge. Now on a Survivor First, a tribal council at the top of the show gives Outcasts a second chance to get back in the game. Plus, an underwater challenge that'll leave you breathless. All new Survivor. Well, Billy Bennett in agony on the sidelines. A 32-yard chip shot. Missed it. Now Deshaun Wynn is on the field for Florida for the first time. Billy Bennett, who last week became the all-time leading scorer in the history of Georgia, surpassing Kevin Butler, who is here today. And here's Leak, left side. Got it. Dallas Baker, number 81. And that's a 14-yard pickup on first down from Leak. to the tall wide receiver Dallas Baker. Such an unusual setting here, Todd, with the split right down the middle, 50-50.
And it makes it a unique momentum switching type of environment too. I mean, because if 41,000 people are sad about a play, 41,000 people are excited and they're cheering. And just like on that missed field goal by Billy Bennett, I mean, it was loud in here because the Florida fans cheering for that. Very different than if you're playing in an opponent's stadium, and makes a huge difference in how the momentum changes.
Play fake, leak down the middle for Ben Troop. Big tight end has it, rolls down.
Perfect throw by Chris Leak.
27 yards. Ben Troop from Augusta, Georgia, recruited to Georgia by Jim Donnan, decided instead to go to Florida.
Well, here's Troop. It's a 2 tight end set, and he's going to run the corner route. And you have to throw this with good timing and over the outside shoulder. A little play action fake, and then watch where this ball lands. Right over the outside shoulder. Perfect throw to Ben Troop. And for Troop now, his 28th reception of the season.
On first down after the 27-yard gain, Leak calls out the play and will go from the spread. Hands it off. Deshaun Wynn, number 21, heads left.
You know, I want to get back to that whole thing of how momentum can change in this environment because there's 41,000 fans of each school. After the mixed field goal, a new sense of life right away for Florida, and their fans energized behind them. They hit a couple plays, and all of a sudden now they're in scoring territory and threatening to take the first lead of the football game.
2nd and 9 after the 1-yard pickup. Mike DeGore is the center, and he is a good one. Over the ball. 4-man rush. Pollock comes from the left side. Leak goes into the end zone for Baker's tussle. And there is no flag, uncatchable.
No, it was a good call. Good no call, I should say. Bruce Thornton in coverage on Dallas Baker. Now the boos came out because that was right in the corner where a bunch of Florida fans are. And so that's where the crowd noise came from. But actually they were both pushing and the ball was thrown out of bounds. In fact, Baker stepped out of bounds. And a good no call there.
3rd and 9 in a scoreless first half.
Florida 0 for 4 on 3rd downs so far in the ball game.
Leak is 5 for 7, as you saw. Looks like Georgia might be blitzing. There's a line call changed by DeGore. The blitz is on. Leak, man coverage, and Baker pulled up and came back at the 11-yard line, and the pass was over Bruce Thornton.
And they fooled him. I mean, they showed it like they were going to blitz like LSU does, bringing everybody, but they didn't. They only brought a couple, and David Pollock was the guy there to harass Chris Leak. It's the first time they blitz. Watch all these guys. They're up here. They look like they're going to blitz and play all man-to-man, but at the last minute, a couple of them drop out. They end up only rushing 4, and David Pollock gets right into the face of Chris Leak.
There is a flag in the end zone.
Ball. Unsportsmanlike conduct on the defense.
Whoa.
That'll be half the distance to the goal and a first down.
Boy, oh boy. I
Man,
didn't see this.
No. And it's at the foot of the back judge. It's been picked up now.
Well, the only thing I can think of is if it was after the play, either an excessive celebration or a taunting of some sort for unsportsmanlike conduct. Bruce Thornton seems to be the guy that's pleading his case. What an unfortunate mistake for the Georgia defense after they stopped him on 3rd down.
Well, bring the field goal unit back to the sidelines, hand it off to Deshaun Wynn, and he plunges inside the 10 to the 8-yard line. Redshirt freshman from Cincinnati. Now let's see if we can go back and determine why the infraction on Bruce Thornton.
Well, this was the end of the play. Bruce Thornton just gathered up the incomplete pass. And in throwing the football, we saw Kewan Ratliff throw the football. It was a little different than that.
Kewan threw it into the second stand, the second level. Here's Wynn.
Nice play by Odell Thurman.
I mean, it was 2 weeks ago, the last game for Florida. Kewan Ratliff's 3rd interception of the game. And at that time, it appeared that the game had been put away by Ratliff, and in a moment of enthusiasm for which he later apologized to his coaches and his team, he was penalized for unsportsmanlike.
Yeah. And the reason he apologized is because from that moment, Arkansas took the momentum of that game, and they made a furious comeback.
And here's Wynn. I've just got to say this: if they threw the flag on Bruce Thornton for throwing the ball in toward the end zone, give me a break.
Yeah, that's a little overkill, a little overdone. I mean, they got the stop. Bruce Thornton's excited. Incomplete pass. I'm not sure that deserves it, but here goes Florida with a hurry-up play.
And on first and goal, they get 1 to the 1. And there's another flag down.
Penalty marker down.
Now, Mark Richter's going to talk to Bruce Thornton and try and calm him down. I empathize with the young man. In the enthusiasm of the game.
There was an unbalanced line, and there was 7 on the line.
That's why Florida ran up to the line, because they had an unbalanced line, and they were trying to catch Georgia off guard, but they didn't do it. They weren't able to get it in the end zone on that play.
Three touchdowns and 14 possessions this year.
Yeah.
Second down.
And only 5 scores, period.
Win, and let's go. It's Win. Stopped.
Good D.
Tony Taylor, number 43. Third down. Another shutout quarter by both these teams early on. LSU for the season 21. Florida State 18. And Georgia 17 scoreless quarters.
It's not going to be easy to run the football in on Georgia. In 8 games, they've only allowed 2 rushing touchdowns the whole season. If Chris Leak wants to score here, he's probably going to have to throw for it. No, they got the penalty. You know what? They broke the huddle with 12 men. Randy Hand was trying to run off the field, but they had broke the huddle.
Infraction against the offense. 5-yard penalty. Third down.
So now they'll back him up even further. Usually you see a back or a receiver running out, but this is a tackle. I mean, this is Randy Hand, and he's not going to be able to hide from anybody. 6'6", 310 pounds, and that's Tony Taylor saying, hey, wait a minute. They just tried to fool us.
Ed Zonbrucker, offensive coordinator. Third and 7 now. Kite is the outside man, bottom of your screen. Here's Leak with a lot of time. Across the middle, tipped, incomplete. Odell Thurman. Middle linebacker.
Troop was open, and Chris Leak thought he had a touchdown for sure, but he did not see Odell Thurman because he came from his blind spot. This is good reaction by the middle linebacker, Odell Thurman, drifting into the play. Now watch Thurman, and he's going to drift and then make the play. And Leak never looks at him, and Thurman able to knock that ball away.
24-yard effort. Matt Leach to break the scoreless tie. He's missed 1 today, and he slams this one through. Thurman gets the tip. Florida gets 3. CBS Sports coverage of the Home Depot SEC will continue after this word from your local station.
In this Georgia-Florida rivalry back in 1975, Georgia scores on an end-around pass from Richard Appleby to Gene Washington to win the game 10-7. And in 1976, down 14 at the half, Georgia scored 28 unanswered points behind 2 late touchdowns by Ray Goff for the 41-27 win. And in 80 on third down from their own 7, the Bulldogs' Buck Bellew scrambled and hit Lindsey Scott for a 93-yard touchdown. The Bulldogs won 26-21 and the national championship.
All right, Jill, thank you. And today it's 3-0. Florida leads by that field goal over Georgia.
Yeah, and even though Florida has the lead, that was a win for Georgia. After the penalty on Thornton, Florida ended up with a 1st and goal on the 3-yard line and have to settle for a field goal. That's a big plus for Georgia.
Petrovich pile drives this one through the end zone and out. And that'll come out to the 20, and it leads us directly to our favorite moment each afternoon on Saturdays. It is the Aflac trivia question of the week. Name the only 2 Georgia coaches who have never defeated Florida. Give you time to ponder. I saw the duck earlier today.
You did?
Yeah, the larger duck is here. Economy size duck. First down and 10. 3-0 on the Matt Litch field goal. Browning behind David Green. Quick little flip out to the left side. A good block. And Damian Gary uses that block to scoot across the 25 out into the 27.
Yeah, Michael Johnson was the guy who got the key block, the other wide receiver. Whenever you throw screens to your wide receivers, the guys who are not catching the ball have to be the guys who set up the block. And that's what happened for the Bulldogs on that good first down play.
That's a gain of 8, and it'll be second down, 3-0, under 7 to go. In this renewal of a rivalry that has been played every year since 1926, with the exception of 43 during the war when neither team fielded a team. Handoff Browning up the middle, tries to shake a tackle and does. Looks for a block from Gibson, cuts inside, and he moves out to the 49-yard line.
Man, he is shifty now. I'm going to tell you, this guy, you know, every back has a different style. Some guys like to run you over. Some guys just have blazing speed to run by you. And then some guys like to make you miss and make you look silly in trying to tackle them. That's what Tyson Browning can do. Low to the ground, quick cuts, change of direction. Missed tackle by Johnny Lamar kind of set it up. Tyson Browning in space, a very difficult guy to corral.
Browning, one of 4 who had to sit out the first 2 games, suspended by Coach Mark Richt. And here's Browning coming right, tries to get on the corner, and there is Daryl Dixon to make the tackle on the first down play. Now let's go back to New York for a Pontiac High Performance update. Once again, here's Tim.
All right, Vern. After being scorched twice by Oklahoma State in successive years, Kewan Jones, the Jinx Oklahoma native, takes it in 17-0 now. Sooners leading the Cowboys.
All right, thank you, Tim. 2nd and 7 here, a 3-0 game. 5:45 to go in the opening half of play. 3 wide receiver set now for the Bulldogs. Corner blitz. Green reads it, finds his man right side. It's Michael Johnson with a first down at the 35-yard line. That's a gain of 14. Johnson, the hero of last year's win over Auburn, but not that much of a factor through much of this season. And this is a Florida team, as we've said, Todd, that is playing today without their leading sacker, Bobby McCray.
Yeah, he had 8 sacks coming into the day's game, leading the SEC. And for David Green, he's just got to be thrilled to have his big guys out at the wide receiver position back. He's got all of them now. Michael Johnson, Reggie Brown, Fred Gibson, Damian Gary. There haven't been many games this year that Georgia's had their full complement of offensive weapons.
Gain of 14, nice pass, dropped. That's the 2nd drop for Fred Gibson today.
Yeah, and both of them were good throws.
Gibson, who caught 4 for 100, 5 for 104 in the season opener against Clemson. And then in the 2nd game, strained a hamstring on a late kickoff return against Middle Tennessee State. We saw him the next week. First quarter against South Carolina, re-injured the hamstring. Came back moderately healthy, missed the last 2 weeks with the knee. It's been a forgettable year so far.
Yeah, it really has. And only 16 catches coming into today as their big play receiver.
2nd down and 10. Green.
Look out.
Picked off. Kewan Ratliff. That's his 7th interception of the season. 6th in the last 3 games.
See, the thing that Kewan Ratliff does is he takes some gambles. I mean, he's going to watch the eyes of the quarterback, David Green. Now watch as he goes back. He's watching, he's just hanging around, and then he goes for the football. And when you're on a roll as a defensive back, you tend to do that. Kewan Ratliff, his 7th interception of the season.
Sellout crowd at Old Hill Stadium in Jacksonville. The border war, and Kewan Ratliff. 3 interceptions against Arkansas. And he picks one off here.
You know, he's playing with so much confidence right now. I mean, he just feels like he's going to make a play. And when you feel that way, you take some chances as a defensive back.
On the 48, first down. And Leak will take it with an empty backfield. Georgia will bring 5, and they force Leak out to the right. That's Thomas Davis, who came from the corner, and Leak wisely threw it away.
Well, right away, Georgia lined up in their dime package defense on first down. Florida came out with the spread wide receiver set, and right away they put Thomas Davis up on the line of scrimmage and brought him in the pass rush.
Again, the spread formation on 2nd and 10. Little screen pass out to the left side.
Well, defense. The first time now that Florida has tried to throw that screen, they crushed Arkansas with the screen 2 weeks ago. I mean, Arkansas had no answer for it until about the 4th quarter. And they hurt Georgia with those screens last year in this ball game. Well defensed on that first one of the ball game today, and another 3rd down and long for the Florida Gators.
3rd and 7 after Andre Caldwell's catch. 3-0 game. The ball just across the 50. And again, Georgia with 3 down. And they will bring 4. Leak in trouble. Slips down. And it was the pressure from Thurman and the pressure from Thomas Davis.
And again, when Georgia pressures, they pressure with 5, sometimes 6. Okay, so they're going to bring this guy and this guy along with the 3 linemen. So that's only 5 altogether. So they can still play zone defense behind it. But those guys that they're bringing are extremely quick athletes, and Chris Leak had to go down.
That is the first sack by the Georgia defensive line. And it brings on Eric Wilbur to punt. Damian Gary waits for it, and this one is not all that effective
either.
He
had 1 good one and 2 bad ones now.
Now that one's going to be marked out of bounds at the 27-yard line. A 36-yard punt. Davis and Thurman got to Leak. We'll be right back.
Orlando in New York. Coming up on the Earth League halftime report, Spencer Tillman and I will tell you about a record-setting performance for Larry Fitzgerald of Pittsburgh today. For the 14th straight game, he had a touchdown reception, breaking Michigan State's Charles Rogers record. Now back to Georgia and Florida.
Short punt gives Georgia a first down at the 27-yard line. David Green for the day, 5 of 11 for 34 yards. 1 interception, that Kewan Ratliff's, and he's been sacked 3 times. Handed off, sweep. Jeremy Thomas with a terrific block. In this week's Home Depot coach's decision, we take a look at Coach Zook's decision to keep Bobby McCray from playing today.
Well, Bobby McCray, obviously a key part of this defense, leading the SEC in sacks. And Ron Zook had to go with what the school decided to do. Apparently it was an academic situation. Bobby McCray not attending class.
Bobby McCray is out of uniform. He's got his jersey on, and he is allowed to travel. He does not, because Florida is the home team in this game, he does not count against the 70 who are allowed to suit up. And Bobby McCray, leading sacker, is out.
And Tyson Browning still down at the end of that play there. It looks like they're looking at his left knee. It was a weird tackle. Watch, Channing Crowder's they're going to tackle him high. It was not a face mask, but there's the left knee that kind of got bent behind him. Ray McDonald was the guy that made the tackle, and just an awkward way to go down to the ground for Tyson Browning.
Well, this is a Georgia team that last year featured Musa Smith as its signature running back, and this year Tony Milton started. He's out for the season with an injury. Browning suspended for the first 2 games, and then back, and he's shared the responsibility mostly with Michael Cooper, and Browning will now get some attention on that Georgia bench. Draw play up the middle. Lumpkin, who is the 3rd back on the list right now, and he surges for a 14-yard gain and a first down.
And one of the reasons this play worked was because Florida was trying to blitz, and so they had a lot of guys up around the line of scrimmage. All right, so they had nobody in the second level here. So once he breaks 1 tackle, and Lumpkin is a strong runner, he broke the tackle of Crowder, and then he ends up getting a first down.
Greg Lumpkin is a true freshman. He breaks this one to the right side.
Oh, they caught the face mask that time. That's the 2nd tackle in a row that's looked like that. The first one was not a face mask on Ray McDonald, but this time they call Channing Crowder for grabbing the face mask. And it will be the 15-yard type as well.
Personal foul, face mask on the defense, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Lumpkin giving Georgia a little bit of a spark here. And there it is. When you use the face mask to aid in making the tackle, it's a personal foul, 15 yards.
So the ball is marched down to the 37-yard line. 1st and 10. Gibson breaks and goes wide left. Florida 5 penalties now for 45 yards. A 3-0 game, under 3 to play first half. Michael Cooper is on the field, and he's down to the 31-yard line. Matt Ferrier with a tackle. And time now to answer the Aflac trivia question of the week. Trot on by. Name the only 2 Georgia coaches who've never defeated Florida. And the answer is Johnny Griffith, 0 for 3, 61-63, and then his job filled by a guy named Vince Dooley. And Mark Richt, 0 for 2. This is his 3rd opportunity. 2nd down, they give the ball to the fullback, Jeremy Thomas, number 41, who for the 3rd consecutive year becomes a walk-on who starts at fullback for Georgia. Baron Haynes started that list. Then it was J.T. Wall, and this young man, who was a scout team linebacker a year ago, began his academic career at the Air Force Academy. He played JV ball there and then transferred and walked on to this football team. And as you said, Todd, boy, Mark Richt really was hopeful he could play today.
Well, because particularly in situations like this, 3rd down and short, you need your fullback in the football game.
There's the lead block, big hole, and a run by Cooper, out of bounds at the 9-yard line.
How important is a good blocking, tough, hard-nosed fullback? All you got to do is watch good short yardage plays. Watch Jeremy Thomas lead right at your face here. Number 41 is going to get the key block, knocks his man down, and then Cooper with the speed to get to the outside. Take a look again. Jeremy Thomas, a good hard block. He actually blocks 2 Gators. And Cooper able to get downfield for an easy first down.
1st and goal, Georgia with 1:26 to go. The clock stopped on the out-of-bounds play, and Cooper knocked down after a gain of maybe a half yard. Now Georgia does have all 3 timeouts remaining. 2nd and goal, and coming up on the Earthlink halftime report, back to New York. Tim and Spencer with scores and highlights from around the country on this most significant midseason game. UGA the 6th. Gibson, top of the screen.
And he's got Johnny Lamar in single coverage out there. They may want to take a look at that.
And a flag. Dead ball foul.
Boy, we have seen both teams hurt themselves with dead ball penalties when they're inside the 10-yard line. It happened to Florida when they were on the 3 and had to settle for a field goal. Now it happens to Georgia and pushes them back to the 14.
Mark Richt elects to utilize one of the 3 Georgia timeouts. We'll be right back. After the penalty, 2nd and goal from the 14-yard line. Lumpkin is in at the running back spot now, alongside David Green, the quarterback.
Key for Florida here, creating some pressure after the first 2 series when they had 3 sacks. Not much pressure on David Green the rest of this first half.
Now they threaten the blitz. Now they back out of it. David Green appears to have changed the play. Corner coming, got him. Green nailed. 4th sack. Travis Harris.
And that's got to be a mistake by Georgia, because that was not a blitz, and that's a lineman that you don't let go unblocked. Max Gene Gillis was the lineman, the tackle on the end of the line. Mark Richt, he's trying to change the play after the timeout, but you don't let this happen. Number 74 has got to block that guy. You can't turn a guy loose on your quarterback like that.
Georgia, having lost 7, uses its 2nd timeout. It was 1st and goal at the 9. A 5-yard penalty cost him 5. Then a 7-yard sack. It's now 3rd and goal from the 21. 15 seconds to go.
And 1 timeout for Georgia, so if they don't get a score.
Screen pass. Right side, Damian Gary. He's got room to the 5-yard line, out of bounds. 6 seconds to go, but that's going to be a 4th down.
Nice effort by Damian Gary, though. At one point, it looked like he was just going to go out of bounds. It's a wide receiver screen, a good call versus the blitz. And he's got Josh Brock out there, number 60, to set up the first block. Daniel Inman, number 72, another lineman getting a block downfield. And Damian Gary almost got this to the end zone. Nice call by Mark Richt.
Now they're going to bring on Billy Bennett. He missed 1 from 32. This is from 21. Very high snap. The kick is up, and it is good. But Brian Jordan, the snapper, sent that one about 3 feet up in the air. And Lee Jackson had to do a fine job to grab it, get it down, and allow Bennett to notch this thing at the half. And let's go down to Jill Arrington, who is with Mark Richt.
Well, Coach Richt, it's a tight ball game. Both defenses are playing really well. What adjustments are you going to make to give David Green more time to find his rhythm today?
Well, he's got to step up in the pocket. I know there's been times he hadn't had the protection, but there's times that he's got to step up and trust it and fire strikes. We got to catch the ball, and we've run the ball pretty well. We got to make sure that we don't forget to do that.
All right, Coach, thank you. Good luck.
Thank you, Jill. Well, I'm thinking of a couple of Fred Gibson drops. Mark Richt may be thinking of them as well. We are tied at the half, 3-3. Let's go back to New York and Tim Brando.